Hello guys and welcome back to Nitro Gamer 23, and today I am back with another Pokemon challenge video. But this video is not like the other Pokemon challenge videos where I use a single Pokemon and try to beat a certain Pokemon game. In this challenge, what I'm gonna be doing is, instead of using a single Pokemon to beat a certain Pokemon game, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a full team of Pokemon belonging to a single type and see how quickly I can beat a certain Pokemon game. So this challenge is gonna be how quickly can I beat Pokemon Sapphire using only Grass Type Pokemon. I chose to do this challenge in Pokemon Sapphire not only because of Team Aqua, but because we can battle Steven Stone as a champion battle, and because he uses Steel type Pokemon, it's gonna be difficult for us to defeat him using only a team of Grass types. And also because we have access to the Lotad line instead of the C-Dot line, and Ludicolo is a water and grass type, so it's gonna be helpful for us to take on the Steel type Pokemon. And in this challenge I tried to not go over level as much as possible, but I had to go over level for just the Steven Stone fight, which I'm gonna get to later in a bit. So let's get into the rules of this challenge. The first rule is that I can only use Grass type Pokemon in battle. I just use one other Pokemon for HMs, but other than that I use only Grass type Pokemon totally throughout the whole run. And the second rule is that I can't use any items in combat, but held items are allowed, because without the held items this challenge would have taken a lot more time. And the third and final rule is that I can't use any cheats or exploits to win the game a bit faster, because normally I use the universal Pokemon randomizer to change the starter Pokemon, but here we already have Trico, a grass type Pokemon that we can use as a starter Pokemon, and instead of modifying the starters to the Pokemon that we need. So first off I get out of the moving truck, and then I go to and meet May, and from there I go to Route 102 and take Trico as my starter Pokemon and beat the level 2 Poochyena, saving Professor Birch. After that I went and took on the May battle, which was pretty easy, just a couple of pounds, took out her Torchic, and then I went to Route 102, caught a Lotad and named Gassy Guy. From there I went and helped Wally catch his ults and tried to take on the Rasboro City gym. The first time didn't go pretty well, but the second time the battle was pretty easy. And after a failed attempt I knew that I could beat the gym at this level, so I tried again, and then we got the run that I needed. So first off she leads out with her level 14 Geodude, and I lead out with my Lotad. I use an Absorb to take it down to half HP, and it hits a Rock Tomb, taking me to less than half HP. She heals up with a potion, I use another Absorb, and she heals with another potion, I use another Absorb, and after that it used a Defense Curl and one more Absorb finished her Geodude. Then after that she had only one Pokemon remaining, so I switched out into Woody, my Trico, and I used a couple of Leers to lower its defense, and it hit a Rock Tomb unfortunately, and another Rock Throw taking out Woody. Then I brought in Grassy Guy, used a couple of Absorbs, and Absorb didn't do much, maybe it did 1/5 of its HP, but a critical Absorb took it down to yellow HP. After that a few more Absorbs take out her Nosepass, winning us the first gym battle. And in that, Grassy Guy grew to leveled up to level 16, and it evolved into a Lombre, which is gonna be pretty useful because we are gonna get a Ludicolo pretty late into the game. So after that we took on the Team Aqua member in the Rust F tunnel, and then after that battle Woody reached level 16 and evolved into a Grovyle. After that we go to the Devon Corporation headquarters in Rasboro City and take a letter that we have to deliver to Steven Stone. After that we head to Dewford Town, and the first thing that I do is go and get a silk scarf that's gonna boost all normal type moves by 10%. After that I tried to take on the gym, but the first attempt didn't go too well. So I thought that it's gonna be better for me to take on giving the letter to Steven Stone, and from there going and taking on the third gym, the electric gym, and coming back later. So I go and give him Steven Stone the letter, and from there I go to Slateport City and take on all of the trainers in the beach and buy a few soda pops. Then I go to the Slateport Museum and give the Devon goods to Captain Stern, and from there take on the 2 Team Aqua members, which were pretty easy 2-shots because they use only water type Pokemon. The second member used a Zubat, which was not a problem, and his Carvanha went down in 2 shots again. After that, Archie comes out, and from there we go and catch our next Pokemon, which is an Oddish. This Oddish is gonna be a pretty important Pokemon in our team, and after that we have another May battle, which was nothing out of the ordinary, a pretty easy battle. I had to use only 2 of my Pokemon, I believe, but overall it was a pretty easy battle. From there I reach Marble City and take on Wally in front of the gym. His Ralts was not a problem. It went down in almost 2 shots, and a third shot took it out. After that I tried the electric gym, but it was pretty difficult to take on the gym, so I thought to go back and take on Brawly's gym and then come back and take on this gym. So Brawly's gym was pretty easy now for the second attempt. So first he has 2 Pokemon and he leads out with his Machop. I use my Oddish and poison him and then switch out into my Grovyle, trying to take him out, but he used a few karate chops and Grovyle's down. Then I send out my Lombre, which takes out the Machop, and then comes out his Makuhita. I send out Oddish again and poison it, and then try to do as much damage as possible using my Oddish. And after poisoning the Makuhita, my Oddish goes down to 1 more Arm Thrust. Then I send out Grassy Guy and finish him off, winning us the second gym badge. And now it's time for the electric gym, but in the meanwhile our Oddish evolved into a Gloom. While heading to Petalburg Woods I forgot to catch a Shroomish, so I went back and caught a Shroomish, which is going to be useful to take on the steel types in Watson's gym. And I caught another grass type, a Roselia, which is also a poison and grass type. And after that I trained up the Shroomish and evolved into a Breloom and taught it Mach Punch, which is going to be the main move that we are going to use for the Watson fight. And now it's time for the Watson battle. First he sends out his Magnemite and I use a single Mach Punch to take it out. Then I switch out into my Gloom and try and poison his Voltorb. After that a few Absorbs trying to take it out, and I'm going back and forth and it used Self-Destruct. After that I send out my Grovyle and his last Pokemon Magneton. I use the Pursuit so that we can hit it first, and then it paralyzed us, so after getting paralyzed, and it took Woody out, and I sent out my Lombre, and 2 Shockwaves take out the Lombre. Then I sent out my Roselia and I used a single growth, and after that it fainted as well. Then a last Pokemon Breloom took it out with a single Mach Punch, and we get the Dynamo badge from Watson. After that I take on a few of the story stuff, head to Meteor Falls, see Team Aqua running away from Team Magma, and from there I go to Meteor Falls, Mount Chimney, and take on Archie in the battle. Archie was a pretty difficult battle to say. It took me 10 attempts. So first off I used my Breloom against his Mightyena, which goes down to 2 Mach Punches. After that I keep it in and use another Mach Punch, but Breloom faints, and I send out my Roselia, which faints again. And my Grovyle also faints, and I send out my Lombre, which takes out the Golbat using 2 Rock Tombs. After that, out is his last Pokemon, Sharpedo, which is not pretty difficult. So I send out my Gloom and a Poison Powder to poison it, and a few Absorbs take out the Sharpedo, winning us the Archie battle. And this battle took me almost 10 attempts, and after that I went on to Falarper Town to take on the 4th gym leader, Flannery. She took me a few attempts, maybe 10 or so, but was a pretty easy battle for a fire type gym leader. So first off is her Slugma. I use my Lombre and I use a fake out, and it uses overheat, and after that another overheat takes out my Lombre. After that I send out my Breloom and I use a Mach Punch which takes out the Slugma. She sends out her second Slugma, I send out my Roselia and I Leech Seed it to take some chip damage in the meantime and try to regain our health each turn. It uses a Flamethrower on my Grovyle, which is a one shot, and after that send out my Roselia again and it uses Flamethrower. We survive on 1 HP and then I switch out into my Breloom, which takes it out with a single Mach Punch. After that is her last ace, Torkoal, and I send out my Roselia, tying and Leech Seed it so that we can take chip damage, and it also gets poisoned due to Roselia's poison point. After that I send out my Gloom, trying to take out as much health as possible, leaving my Breloom for later. And Breloom comes in and I use a Mach Punch because that's the best move that I can use, and after that she used a Hyper Potion to heal up, and a few more Mach Punch and a few headbutts take it down into potion range. She heals up with a Hyper Potion. I use a few Mach Punches and a few headbutts, and with good flinch luck, two more Mach Punches were enough to take out her Torkoal and winning us the Fire Gym Badge. Now with this out of the way, we can go and catch two more Pokemon, one is a Cacnea and the other one is the Root Fossil, which I'm gonna take and get a Lileep. Now it's time for the 5th gym battle against Norman. So first off, he uses his level 28 Slacking, and I use a counter and a Mach Punch to take out his Slacking. So next is his Vigoroth, so I switch out into my Lombre, use a few fake outs, try to take it out with a few Rock Smashes and a few strengths, but a critical Facade takes out my Lombre. So I send out my Gloom to try and poison it, and I successfully poison it, and it uses a Facade which takes out my Gloom. I send out my Cacnea, which was a one shot, then I send out my Breloom, which took it out with a single Mach Punch. Last up is his Pokemon Ace level 31 Slacking. So I send out my Grovyle and use a Pursuit to, without it using Focus Punch we couldn't have won this battle. So I send out my Breloom and use a Leech Seed. After that it faints, so I send out my Lileep trying to take it out, and I alternated between Constrict and Acid, and if you guys won't believe it, this took up more than half of the time. So after alternating between Constrict and Acid, after almost 10 or so turns, we beat the Slacking and get the balance back. And we catch the last Pokemon that we're gonna add to our team. It's a Tropius. Then I go to the Weather Institute, and Aqua Admin Shelly's Pokemon were pretty easy 1 and 2 shots, and the May battle was also not that difficult. So after this May battle, we're at almost a halfway point in the game, and I'll have the next half of the run in a separate video, otherwise this would be almost half an hour long. And so separating them into 2 videos was the best thing that I could think of. And so for the second half of this run, please stay tuned. I'll have the second part uploaded in a couple of days. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.